Good evening. I'm Russ Brown, and tonight's ticker is brought to you by the Department of Health and Human Services. Husker baseball will be in action for a pair of midweek games against Wichita State. Carson Johnson will get the start on Tuesday for the Big Red. The 6'7 freshman is 0-1 on the season with an ERA of 9. And sophomore TJ Coates gets the ball on Wednesday night. He is 0-0 on the season with an ERA of 7.71. Pre-game coverage starts at 5:30 both nights right here on the Husker Radio Network. Nebraska Beach Volleyball swept Southwest Baptist today. The Huskers posted their 7th straight sweep. Today's win marks the 5th match in a row that no Husker pair has dropped a set. Beach Volleyball is back in action on Wednesday against San Francisco. That gets underway at 1. And some quarterback movement in the National Football League today. The Seahawks have signed Sam Darnold to a 3-year, $100.5 million deal. The Jets have reached a deal with Justin Fields for 2 years and $40 million. And the Eagles have traded Kenny Pickett to the Browns for Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 5th-round pick. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Up next, it's Hour 1 of Sports Nightly right here on the Husker Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Rice inside, Buchtengel, extra pass, Wooster, 3, no good. Rebound, Gary, put back up and in. Gary high in the air for the offensive carom. We've got a 2-point game.
High drama in Indianapolis. Hank bounces
there it
in.
is.
Layup for Jessica Petrie. Off the assist from Hank. Timeout, Illinois. The Big Red leads by 3. You can't draw up a better inbound play than Kellen Hank to Jessica Petrie.
Brandenburg set at the belt. The first pitch. Carey swings and rocks one into left center field. Guerrero back to the track, to the wall. It is gone. A 3-run homer for Dylan Carey. And Nebraska's lead swells to 4-0.
McCanty's 1-0, and Squire swings and drives this one. Deep right center. It's gone, and we're tied! Abby Squires serves it over the fence in right center field to tie the game at 4.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Nick Hanley, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hi, everybody, and happy Monday to you on this absolutely beautiful spring March afternoon. It's still light outside, a little breezy, but you will not find me complaining about that at all. This is my jam, Nick. I am a happy camper today.
How can you not be? It was actually warm. I mean, it's bare arms. You can wear some shorts today if you want to. I saw a lot of people out on bikes, walking the dogs, and I mean, it looked like a summer day. This is fantastic. Let's go. It's not too early for this, and I know it's not going to be consistent, but heck yeah, let's go.
I know. You kind of lectured me the last time I got teased a little bit about this weather. I fully am aware it might not be here to stay. In fact, I go back to, it was a couple springs ago. It was Coach Roll's first spring game, and I had gone to Hawaii with my family and came back, and it was in April, and it was freezing on that spring game. So I am aware that it might not be here to stay, but for today, I'm going to enjoy it. But no, unfortunately, amount of sunshine is going to mask how sad I was from yesterday with the Nebraska men's basketball team falling to Iowa, eliminating them from being able to compete in the Big Ten tournament, and then ultimately earning a spot in the NCAA tournament. We're going to hear from Fred Hoiberg here coming up in just a few minutes. But on the flip side of that, it was a positive week for the Husker women making a run in the Big Ten tournament. We're going to hear from Amy Williams as well. But did want to spend this first segment here talking about the loss to Iowa. And, you knew what was on the line. This team knew what was on there. And it kind of felt like that, and that there was some pressure and not, I know that a lot of it was the way that they were guarding Bryce Williams, but he's done so much, and kind of an uncharacteristic scoring night for him. And when they were doubling, no one else could step up. And then Iowa got hot, and it just, man, it was just all the recipes for it not coming out the right way. And I'm really sad for this group because they were right there on the bubble. I mean, even despite everything they've been through over these last couple of months, they were still on Sunday a bubble team. In most bracketologies, they were either the last 4 out or first 4 out or whatever it might be. They were still right there, so still had an opportunity to play into the NCAA tournament, but ultimately a loss eliminates them from the Big Ten and then making a run in winning a couple games in the Big Ten tournament to get to the NCAA tournament. We heard Coach Hoiberg saying they will be playing in the postseason. We'll know more about that later this week. But Nick, just heartbreaking for this group that they couldn't find one more win to be able to position themselves to maybe make another NCAA tournament appearance.
What's really unfortunate about this, in my opinion, is if you get to that point of it seemed like every bracketologist. Now we don't know; it could have been a different thing with the committee, but it seemed like every bracketology expert was willing to give Nebraska the benefit of the doubt. I just think that what they did early in the year, that weighed heavy on a lot of people's projections to where it was almost as if they were saying, Nebraska, just help yourself one of these moments and we'll forecast you in because we feel like you're going to get in. We'll get you over that 50% likelihood of getting into the NCAA tournament. Just need to see something. And that Ohio State game, that's the offense you wanted to see. Unfortunately, Ohio State was playing like a team that was also desperate as well, and you had a result that was a double overtime thriller.
And also got some help from the officiating.
Are we over that yet? I don't know because look, I don't know where you're at on this one compared to where I am. Yes, there are moments. If Bryce hits that free throw at the end of regulation, we're not talking about it. But there were elementary level calls, basic calls that were missed. And that shouldn't just be upsetting to people who follow Nebraska, but that should be upsetting to people in college basketball when you have an officiating crew that is missing some of the most basic level calls. There should have been 2 technicals, and then the sideline inbound where you can move no more than 3 feet. Oh, he moved more than 3 feet. So, yeah, that was very frustrating, but I digress. It was a great game offensively, and you saw Bryce take over, and you saw great things out of Jawan Gary in that one, too. There were some contributions. You needed that effort offensively, and I thought what Fred said after the game yesterday was something that really hurt this team, I think, in a lot of different occasions when teams defended Bryce the way that they did, where Nebraska would have the numbers. They'd have basically a 4-on-3 advantage, and yet you weren't getting buckets to fall. You weren't getting bunnies to fall. You weren't getting some of your more high-percentage looks to fall. And that's obviously something that needs to be addressed in the offseason. Just the ability to finish at the rim, the ability to finish in the paint, all of those things, those little things right there. And you and I were talking about this before we went on the air, the type of difference, especially this last 2 weeks, where you needed a little extra offense, the type of difference that a guy like even Rink Mast, who's on the roster, unfortunately physically unable to play, that contribution that you could have gotten from Rink Mast could have been a world of difference for this team and their postseason hopes. Yeah, absolutely. And, you even talk about a guy like Connor Sejan, who we know is a capable shooter, and just there were some times, some games that He got some open looks when Bryce was doubled and they didn't go down. I mean, Sunday was one of those. It just, it was a struggle for when they were going to take Bryce out of it. But, yeah, I think Rink Mast would have alleviated a lot of that pressure off of Bryce Williams. You got a good core coming back, and, and Rink is set to return. They've said nothing but just the way that he's attacked everything has just been so impressive. And luckily he was able to take this full year and really get healthy. So he'll be back. That will be a big time return for this basketball team. You get some other good guys, core guys coming back, and then they're going to have to do some work in the portal. And Coach Hoiberg will talk about that here in just a little bit, but there's no doubt about it. And this is the trend that we've seen this program go on. They're going to go get guys in the portal. They're going to be aggressive in the portal. And obviously now you need a point guard and probably another scorer to go along with this group. But we'll see, how they'll attack it here. I did, want to kind of maybe talk a little bit about the Big Ten tournament. And, we heard this argument a couple weeks ago from Iowa's side of it. And you didn't think about it until you're part of it, until you're on the side of it.
But, it's been brought up a few times now that I've seen, and it just stinks that now the Big Ten is losing out on another team potentially making the NCAA tournament field because they don't even have the opportunity to go put together 2 or 3 wins and maybe get into it. So now, and that's revenue for the entire conference. But, I know that that's been a topic of discussion, but it just, I know that the first year going into it, it was a discussion going into this past season. All the coaches met, they talked about it. And I know for both the men and the women, and they just didn't know until they went through it one time. They just didn't know what it needed to be, how many teams, how you could seed it. I do think maybe there would be an opportunity that you could spread it out a little bit and maybe not have them in the same location, the men and the women, but to give everybody an opportunity to get into the tournament. But I don't know. I know there's an argument for both ways. I don't think you could probably put the entire conference in if you're not going to stretch it out and spread it out a little bit between days. But I do see the argument now, obviously, being on this side of it, of kind of the unfortunate of not everybody getting an opportunity to get to the Big Ten tournament.
Well, and that's the situation, and maybe it's going to be a little bit more of a rare situation from an annual standpoint of a Nebraska case. And I think the Nebraska case is at least going to be a discussion, and it should be a discussion. You brought up you lose that ability of maybe getting another team in the NCAA tournament. Now, I know the Big East is not nearly as big as the Big Ten when it comes to the amount of teams and members in that conference. But think of the year that Georgetown and Patrick Ewing, they were an awful team in the regular season. They go to the Big East tournament, they go on a run, and they win the automatic bid because they won the Big East tournament. You never know what can happen in those situations. And for Nebraska, they simply needed to play some more basketball games if they were going to get on the other side of the bubble. And look, hey, they only have themselves to blame. Okay, no one's going to cue the violin from that standpoint. Obviously, I mean, when we talk about any team on the bubble, you are on the bubble for a reason. It's not as if there's some system that's working against you. But when you do look at it from the standpoint that you just brought up there, Jessica, of revenue for the conference, what is in the best interest for the conference when it comes to more money coming in for the conference, that's just getting as many teams in the NCAA tournament as you can. And I think in most occasions, teams that do not make their own conference tournament or the Big Ten tournament are likely not going to even be close to the NCAA bubble. But there was Nebraska right there with a loss to Iowa. Yeah, it knocks them way down. I thought I saw from the Bubble Watch ESPN projections, it dropped them down to a 14% chance. Okay, that's 14% chances. Okay, we know what that actually means. But let's say that they were able, because every team in the Big Ten qualifies for the Big Ten tournament, say they won 1 or 2 games. And depending on what teams they're playing, what does that look like? Where does that put them from the percentage? What any other team? We could throw in any team that you want to make this conversation for. If you're in the Big Ten, you have to look at this example right out of the gate and say, did we do ourselves a disservice by not allowing all teams to compete in the Big Ten? Because we might, and we don't know for sure, but we might have been able to get another team in if, and I know it's a big if given the way Nebraska was playing, if they win a couple of games and all of a sudden they work themselves on the better side of the bubble. So I think you bring up the key point there. Are you missing out on a potential team going to the NCAA tournament, whether it's one of those miraculous runs that doesn't happen every year but can happen, or a team like in Nebraska's case where you just needed some more basketball, maybe 2 more games to play depending on who you're playing, where all of a sudden you're making things interesting of getting in.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, again, one of those, I understand both sides of the coin, but on this today, I'm sitting here saying everybody should be in, right? But I guess that's how the cookie crumbles for this season. But we are going to hear more about the postseason, just overall Coach Hoiberg's thoughts on the season coming up here after this. We're going to also hear from Amy Williams as well, following the Big Ten tournament run for her team. We'll talk more about the basketball teams, and also a great weekend for Husker wrestling. Big Ten runner-ups and a couple of individual champs before they'll head to the NCAAs coming up here in a couple weeks as well. So lots to get into, but coming Coming up next, we're going to hear from the head coach, Fred Hoiberg. Contact 811 2 days before you dig to protect your underground utilities and yourself. It's free, it's easy, it's the law.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Tom Osborne, former football coach and co-founder of the Teammates Mentoring Program.
And I'm Des Moines Adams, Husker black shirt and CEO of Teammates Mentoring.
We're recruiting Teammates mentors and need caring adults to be in the lives of our students.
Meeting with a student once a week at the school can make a positive impact in their life and have a ripple effect in our communities.
Please join our team.
Go to teammates.org today.
The signs are everywhere. It's time for Truck Month at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get up to $7,000 cash on F-150 and save on Ford Super Duty. Both part of F-Series, America's best-selling truck lineup for 48 years. Hurry in, folks. These trucks are running. Drive a new Ford F-150 with up to $7,000 cash or 1.9 financing plus $4,250 cash. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hi, I heard Cash Blast is back.
Yes, sir. Until April 1st, buy a 2x2 ticket and enter the voucher number online for a chance to win one of 7 weekly drawings for $5,000 or $500. And if your voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket, your prize is doubled.
You guys are great.
Thanks, but we think our players are greater.
No, you're greater.
No, you're greater.
Well, if you insist.
2x2 top prize odds 1 in 105,000.
Nebraska soybeans power everyday products, from Goodyear tires and Skechers shoes to soy-based turf and fire suppressants. These innovations replace petroleum and utilize other components of the soybean, leading to more sustainable products worldwide.
I'm Doug Sadoff, a farmer near Trumbull, Nebraska. Thanks to cutting-edge research, soybeans are now in everything from tires to turf. It's amazing to see how these advancements are unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Huskers fans, let's call a timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
The signs are everywhere. It's time for Truck Month at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get $3,000 cash on Super Duty
And save on Ford F-150. Both part of F-Series, America's best-selling truck lineup for 48 years. Hurry in, folks. These trucks are running. Drive a new Ford Super Duty with $3,000 cash or 1.9% financing. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Welcome back into Sports Nightly. All season long, the Nebraska Men's Basketball Show has been sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, where people don't have your money has people. I'm Jessica Coody, and it's a heartbreaking end to the season for Nebraska men's basketball yesterday. The loss to Iowa. Appreciate the head coach, Fred Hoiberg, stopping by with us. Coach, I know how much this team means to you, how much you believe in this team. I got to imagine yesterday was pretty tough for you.
It's been a hard couple weeks, Jessica, and you look at how this season ended, and, you know, obviously we had very high aspirations of being in the tournament again for back-to-back seasons and put ourselves in a really good position earlier in the year, you know, with a really good stretch. After a tough stretch, we lost 5 in a row and then bounced back and won 6 in a row, and then obviously finished on a tough note. And, you know, I look at a couple things over this stretch, and, you know, one was the injury to Burke. That could not have come at a worse time, especially with how he was progressing and playing the best basketball of his college career. And, you know, I thought yesterday he played better, you know, but obviously wasn't in the same rhythm that he had been, you know, in that stretch where we were playing really well. So, you know, the other one is the close losses, and there's just too many of them, and we didn't take care of home court like we did a year ago. And, you know, our job now as coaches, once we get through, I do believe we will play in one of the postseason tournaments, and then, you know, we're going to be very active in getting out there and replacing some really good players, and hopefully, you know, putting ourselves in a position where we're better. And, you know, we need to close these close games out. That's what this league's all about. We were 5-9 in games decided are 8 points or less. Last year, we didn't play as many close games, but we had a winning record in those close ones. And I promise you this, we are going to do everything in our power to put a consistent winner on the court. The sad thing is we're 1 or 2 games away from being in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
And, you know, as heartbreaking as that Ohio State game was, there was several things that happened in that game where if they go our way or we get a call, then we might be in the tournament. And that's how fine of a line this business is. But we're not. And, you know, that's at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So I promise you this, Husker Nation, we're going to do everything we can to get this thing back to where we are in the tournament, and we are going to be there consistently. This place means the world to me. I absolutely love it. I'm passionate about it. We've got staff right now that are out on the road recruiting, and, you know, once the portal opens up, obviously we're going to be active in it, and, you know, we're going to put a team on the court that's going to fit the values of Huskers. I think this team was. It was a hard-working team. We just did not close out games the way we needed to. And, you know, we're going to do everything in our power to get this thing right and to get a consistent winner on the court.
I know you're losing a lot of that senior class, but you do have a good core coming back that probably learned a lot and are going to be fueled by this taste in their mouth, right, moving forward? Yeah,
and if you don't, then you're not a competitor, and you're not in the right spot. And the coaches have it, the players, I promise you have it, and you're 100% right. We do have a good nucleus coming back. And then the players that we're adding to the mix, and I look at Braden Frager and Nick Janowski as 2 guys that I think absolutely will be in a rotation next year, competitive, can put the ball in the basket. guys that can shoot the ball. And, we made 100 less threes this year than we did a year ago when we led the Big Ten in three-point shooting. And, sometimes when that ball's not going in the hoop like it was yesterday, that court shrinks and it's hard to get into the paint. We'll get rink masked back next year, which is a huge part of what we do. When he led our team in assists last year, you saw how much he was missed at times this year. Burke, I think, coming back after being in the system and having some success and tasting it, even when he wasn't scoring the ball earlier in the year, he still was as important as anybody because of what he did on the defensive end. So yes, you get those guys back. You get Sam, you got Connor, you got a lot of guys that have been in it this year and know what the system is all about. And the addition of Quentin Rhymes, who's going to be an older freshman that had a great last year in his prep school. And, he's a guy that's going to come in and fight for minutes. But again, we've got a lot to replace, and you're going to have to go out and be very active in the portal. And when that opens up, I think we're going to be as active as anybody in that market to try to replace some really good players.
Bryce Williams has just done so much. We've talked about him this entire season. He's carried a heavy load for you guys. And uncharacteristic night scoring-wise, I know a lot of that was defensively what Iowa was doing to you guys, but I'm sure he was pretty disappointed that it wasn't a characteristic Bryce Williams night in his final game inside PBA.
And I'll say this, Jessica, that senior night, believe me, I can tell you from experience, it's a hard night, especially with the way that he has played and how many minutes he's had to play and the emotions that go into that. And I played maybe my worst college game on senior night, and I was so charged up and had so many emotions running through me. And, was teared up before the game. And then you got to turn around and go out there and try to put it all behind you and play. And when you don't get off to a good start, sometimes that stuff gets in your head. So it's a tough game to play. But, yes, to answer to build on what you said, it's one of the best years in Nebraska basketball history with what he did, averaging over 20 points. The 43-point game at Ohio State, unfortunately that ended in a loss. But so many things that he did, some of those close games we had because we put the ball in Bryce's hands and he made the right plays, we ended up pulling away. And, a close game ended up being 9 or 11 at the end of the game with free throws made. And, he just, I'm really proud of him for everything that he has accomplished, for where he is today from where he was when he came in. And he's got an incredibly bright future, and I'm excited to see where he lands.
Well, one of the emotional moments was when Juwan Gary fouls out and he was just overcome with emotion. You guys had an embrace at half court, and I know a lot of just an uproar. I got emotional watching it. This place means a lot to Juwan, and it was pretty special to see how much he became to mean to Husker Nation.
And it's really cool to see Juwan when you hear his comments after the game of when he came in. He said, I don't think I knew where Nebraska was when I got on the plane, to what he said after the game last night, to Nebraska's home for him now. And that truly is special, and what it means to him and how much he was embraced by this fan base. And again, I know you talk about the growth and everything you see on the court with Juwan, how much better of a player he became. But what I saw is what he did as a person and in his personal life, what he did in his growth in that area. And that's what makes me proud. And, what we'll look back on when this thing is all said and done, when it's all over, is where these kids are now after their experience. And hopefully it was a great one for everybody that came through here, whatever this situation was, however, whatever direction it went. But, I know Juwan, when we look back on it, and I'm excited to see where he lands and what he does. I think he's going to play this game for a long time. And, the things that he was able to do here on the court, off the court, has definitely made him the person that he is today. And I know how much he appreciates how much he was embraced here. And I think the fans, you could see it last night with the ovation that he got when he came off the court.
I know this is a topic of debate, and not just in the Big Ten, but across the other leagues as they continue to grow on both men's and women's. But do you have thoughts at all on the Big Ten tournament and everybody getting an opportunity? Because here we are at the end of the season, and you guys are still absolutely a bubble team. Everybody was showing the graphics that you're in the bubble on basically every bracket projection. So had you gone to the tournament, you still might have an opportunity to get there.
Yeah, the thing that's hard is, what was it, a 5 or 6 team tie with 7 wins. And I don't think anybody thought when you're putting the, whatever direction the tournament goes, however many teams are going to make the conference postseason tournament, that you'd have a team with 7 wins that would be in the bottom 3. and yet so many scenarios and so many tie breaks. The unfortunate thing for us, and this is where we got to grow and get better, is we did relatively well against the upper half. And not that there's a bad team in this league. And you saw that yesterday when Penn State goes on the road and beats Wisconsin, who's one of the best teams in the league. The overtime game with Washington yesterday against Oregon. I mean, top to bottom, the parity in this league, there's nothing like it. So, yes, I think, and here's what is going to happen. When we go to the league meetings in May in California, everything will be on the table in the discussions that will be had as far as what do you do for future tournaments. Because there's no doubt, Jessica, this is the heartbreaking thing, and I'm sick for our guys, and I'm sick for our fans, for our coaches, is that we don't get the opportunity to go on a run now in the Big Ten tournament. Anything can happen in those tournament formats. I'm very fortunate. I've been part of 2 cutting down those nets, and there's nothing like it, going on a run and winning games maybe you're not supposed to win, and we don't get that opportunity now. So, yes, it's extremely hard to have to sit and watch that this week, but it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. We start preparing for whatever lays ahead in the postseason and with recruiting and starting to build our roster for next season.
That was my final question for you. Just what does this week look like? You had talked about going to have a postseason opportunity. I know you probably won't know for sure what that looks like, but how does this week look like for this team knowing that you're not done playing basketball?
Yeah, I'm excited to continue to get the opportunity to coach because I have thoroughly enjoyed being around these guys and coaching them and all the ups and downs, highs and lows you go through over the course of the season and the roller coaster ride of emotions. These guys came into work every single day, and to be able to get a couple more weeks with them, it's special, and you cherish these opportunities because these are some great kids that went through here. And, I'm sick with how it ended with these last 5 games in the close losses that we had. You look at Michigan, you have a shot to win it. You look at Minnesota, you go up, they make one at the buzzer. Ohio State and all the things that happened in that game, you win 1 or 2 of those. We're not even talking about this right now.
Yeah.
We're getting prepared for Indianapolis, but again, it happened and you learn from it. And, but the opportunity to continue to coach these guys, we'll know on Sunday what direction this thing is headed. But yes, there's no doubt in my mind that we will be able to continue on and play basketball.
We talk about this in bowl season, and we heard it a lot from this football staff, but just to be able to be playing here in March and for that young group that you talked about, it's got to be a big opportunity for them.
It is, and yeah, the young guys still continue to get reps, and, we're going to do a lot of skill work this week and, see where we go. Obviously, we have no idea who we're going to play, and then, we'll see what happens. There's a crown tournament, there's an NIT tournament, and those have different start dates, so then you put your schedule together. And, I've already talked to our sports science team. I've already talked to our trainer and our strength coach about putting a schedule together to make sure we stay sharp, but at the same time getting them some rest. But, yeah, we got to get that edge going into the postseason, and whatever direction it goes, put the best product on the floor that we can.
Coach, appreciate you joining us here tonight.
All right. Thanks, Jessica.
And that is Fred Hoiberg, the head coach of Nebraska men's basketball. Dorothy Lynch, Homestyle and Light and Lean Dressing, endless flavorabilities. Back with more of the show coming up after this.
At Woodhouse, we're cultivating connections that are lifelong. Woodhouse has been proudly serving customers and communities since 1975. From your first test drive to servicing your vehicle, we are dedicated to providing you with a personal and professional experience each and every time. With a variety of top brands to choose from, we guarantee that we can help you find your next vehicle. We're more than just a dealership. We're a trusted partner. Experience the Woodhouse difference. Get started today at woodhouse.com.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
In the game of life, we all step up to the plate. Sometimes it feels like we're facing a curveball with no clear path. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the 9th inning. Reach out, speak up, and let's strike out life's challenges together. Because we're more than players, we're a resilient community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every swing, every slide. Play ball. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
No need to hunt around for friendly service, low prices, quality products, and great experiences. You'll find it all with the local experts, Sapp Brothers Petroleum. If you're tired of tracking down another late delivery, it's time to consider Sapp Brothers, where we pride ourselves on delivering products on time or even ahead of schedule. With your safety our top priority. Switching is easy. Just shoot us an email or get us a call. And right now, when you contact Sapp Brothers for any of your fuel, propane, or lubricant needs, you'll be entered to win a guided pheasant hunt next fall. Visit sappbros.net/Huskers.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hi, I heard Cash Blast is back.
Yes, sir. Until April 1st, buy a 2x2 ticket and enter the voucher number online for a chance to win one of 7 weekly drawings for $5,000 or $500. And if your voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket, your prize is doubled.
You guys are great.
Thanks, but we think our players are greater.
No, you're greater.
No, you're greater.
Well, if you insist.
2x2 top prize odds 1 in 105,000.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Husker fans, let's call a timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued, on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. I'm Jessica Coody. We'll have a postseason team, basketball team in the NCAA tournament, I should say. Nebraska women's basketball have absolutely done enough to earn a spot in the field for the women's tournament. We will know where and who and all of that. Sunday at 7 o'clock is the selection show. They have felt pretty good. And we had talked to Matt Coody going into the Big Ten tournament, felt pretty good about where they were at, even despite whatever outcome would happen in the Big Ten tournament. But they ended up winning a couple of games, advancing to the quarterfinals, played UCLA, the eventual champion, and matched up with them pretty well, a lot better than they did the first time around. So really was fun watching them go on another run in the Big Ten tournament last week. And now they get some much needed rest for a team that's played a lot of minutes here in March with or in February and into March with a lot of injuries. So this will be a good week as they prepare and get right, and then we'll find out their destination come Sunday. So earlier today I had a chance to catch up with Coach Williams to talk about the Big Ten tournament and what's ahead this week for Nebraska women's basketball. All right, Coach. Well, what a stretch in Indy. I know that's a tough grind, but overall, how'd you walk away from how your team performed there those few days in Indianapolis?
Well, I just am really proud of the way we fought. And obviously, you know, we're never happy with walking away after a loss. That's tough to swallow every time. But I thought our kids really fought, came back in that Illinois game and the fourth quarter and fought back to win that game, and then really tried to scratch and claw against a really tough UCLA team that went on to win the tournament. So I'm just proud of the way we fought. We've continued to improve and get better, and we feel like can be playing our best basketball here down the stretch heading into March Madness.
Yeah, that UCLA matchup, you guys went there to California, and that was kind of a turning point for this team. How fired up were they to show that, hey, they can match up better than what they did out there in L.A.?
Yeah, I think we saw some improvements in all areas. We still got out-rebounded, but we didn't get out-rebounded by 30. So that was definitely a wake-up call for our team, and we're super thankful to have those measuring bars in the Big Ten Conference that can kind of teach us what things we need to sharpen up on, and I'm just grateful to coach a team that wants those type of lessons and wants to be able to prove that we've got better in us, and I thought that we did that.
Alexis Markowski, we haven't got a chance to chat with you, but all Big Ten first team. I mean, again, we've talked about her all season long, but the only player to have one every single year, one of those honors every single year that she's been here. But another impressive performance, and you had talked about even when she's not scoring, she's doing so much for your team, but so deserving, right, of those honors and all the accolades that are coming her way.
I absolutely could not say how deserving that young woman is of every flower that's thrown her way. She just deserves it. She has thrown so much and put so much on the line for this team and this program, and she's elevated the expectations that we have with Husker women's basketball, and so I'm so excited that she was acknowledged in that way.
Britt Prince, her first Big Ten tournament, she seemed to like those lights. And coming off the injury, how is she doing? How'd you like how she performed there, her first Big Ten tournament appearance?
I'm so proud of Britt. I thought that she really bucked up. She wanted the ball in her hands. She made some big-time plays for our team, and just starting to really see her emerge.
It just again seems like a team that was. You guys made this run a year ago, but it just was such a connected team, and you saw people cheering on the bench when it was their time. They stepped in. I mean, just how bought in were they? How excited were they for the opportunity to play together in this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really special group, and you know, I credit really everybody on our roster, but those seniors and Kendall Coley, Kendall Moriarty, Allison Widener, Birdie has stepped into that, and Alexis Markowski, but that group in particular has just bought into the culture that we want to have at Nebraska of celebrating each other's successes and also staying ready when my opportunity is, my number is called. And I think they've bought into that. It's trickled down to the rest of our roster, and it's a special thing that we just want to bottle up.
How much momentum can you take away from, winning those two games there in that tournament style? How much can you build off of that? I know you have a week before the NCAA tournament, but how much can you take away from that and what you guys did this past week?
Yeah, I mean, I think that winning just breeds more winning. And, I think there's a lot of players that are still on this team that won 3 games in the conference tournament a year ago and a game in the NCAA tournament. And when you've had a taste of that, you just want to have it again. And so I think there's no secret to the fact that we went to the conference tournament, got a couple of postseason wins down there again with players who are just hungry to advance in the postseason. And I expect us to take that same approach into March Madness.
Is this a time of year now? Can you still work on yourselves, or how do you approach now coming off the tournament and then still wanting to put some more wins together at the next time around? Like how does that work for a coach and what you're doing with this team this week?
Yeah, well, the timing of everything is such that we have a full week here to do nothing but get better at ourselves. And I think, I talked to our team about the teams that make special runs, that get to do, fun, exciting things in March are the ones that are continuing to find small ways to keep getting better. And so our kids are excited to do that. And I just feel blessed to coach a team that's hungry, that wants to get back in the gym, that wants to find ways to continue to sharpen up and be the best version of ourselves as we head into it.
And then you've had a lot of players having to play a lot of minutes in the body, some injuries. How good is this time just to maybe get recuperated a little bit before you go into the NCAA tournament?
I think that's probably the best thing for this particular group is that we had a weekend off, and we'll be able to take an extra day or so this week to just do recovery. We'll be able to kind of be precise and short with the training that we are doing, and I think that'll help us to be fresh and healthy as we head into the big dance.
What are some of the things that you want this team to focus on when you talk about getting in the gym and not knowing an opponent to get better so that you are better prepared for the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, well, I think that we're going to have kind of an offensive day today and maybe a defensive day tomorrow, but I think there are still skills that we feel like we can be polishing up on, things that we haven't had a chance to work on for a while when you're doing a bunch of game prep and opponent prep, just working on closeouts and defensive stances and hip drives and typical, ball screen coverages and, the things that we really want to be able to sharpen up as we, are not specific to an opponent, but will be applicable to whoever we play.
You have such a great staff. We talk about this every year, but you don't know who you're going to play. So how do you guys, are you looking at other film, or you just got to wait till Sunday and see how it goes?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously it's kind of a fun game for our staff to sit there and look at all the projections and predictions and who, where your seed could fall and who else could potentially be on that other line, and just kind of hypothesize about who it might be. But I think for the most part, we typically just spend this week focusing on us, and then we'll have a little bit of time to game prep once we see that bracket on Sunday.
I know you probably haven't had a chance to sit back and think, but you think about all the things that this team went through and the fact that we're still sitting here talking about this team getting to the postseason and what could happen next. How proud does that make you of this group, that they have put themselves in a position that they are absolutely solidified themselves in this conversation?
We talk a lot about response in our program and how you respond to the things that happen, and positive response to positive things and the celebrating of each other's successes, but also response when things don't go great, because we know every season's going to come with adversity. This season came with a little more adversity than we probably would have liked in the form of injuries, but our team's response to that has been just nothing short of amazing, and I'm just proud of the way they continue to just keep fighting, and very, very excited to live to coach them another tournament.
Well, I got to ask you, because it was brought up a couple times on the broadcast, looks like, or sounded like, it looked like Husker Nation showed up for you guys in Indy. That's got to be helpful, too, to have that kind of support that travels with you.
We absolutely feel that. We can feel that energy, just feel the excitement, just lots of Husker fans that made the trip to Indianapolis, and we're so grateful.
appreciate your time and have fun this week, I guess. What is there anything for you in particular that your goals for this week?
Well, I just was really excited to get to watch Husker softball in person yesterday on our day off, and then specifically just excited to enjoy coaching this group of seniors one more week, couple more weeks, just as long as we can stretch this thing out.
Great stuff there from the head coach, Amy Williams, of the Nebraska women's basketball. We got to get to a break. We're back to wrap up hour number 1 next.
The signs are everywhere. It's time for Truck Month at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get up to $7,000 cash on F-150 and save on Ford Super Duty. Both part of F-Series, America's best-selling truck lineup for 48 years. Hurry in, folks. These trucks are running. Drive a new Ford F-150 with up to $7,000 cash or 1.9 financing plus $4,250 cash. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hi, I heard Cash Blast is back.
Yes, sir. Until April 1st, buy a 2x2 ticket and enter the voucher number online for a chance to win one of 7 weekly drawings for $5,000 or $500. And if your voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket, your prize is doubled.
You guys are great.
Thanks, but we think our players are greater.
No, you're greater.
No, you're greater.
Well, if you insist.
2x2 top prize odds, 1 in 105,000.
Huskers fans, let's call a timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Husker Extra is the best website and mobile app for everything Husker sports. From the experts at the Omaha World Herald and Lincoln Journal-Star, go to huskerextra.com or search your app store today. Just got about 45 seconds left here of hour number 1, fast hour. We got a whole nother hour coming up. On the other side of this, we're going to hear from Mike Eckler, the special teams coordinator. Had a chance to sit down with him. Also going to hear from President Jeffrey Goldheim for another check-in with him, and we'll talk more hoops and wrestling. Big weekend for them. I did want to note, too, to tag on to that conversation with Amy Williams. Again, Selection Sunday, 7 o'clock. Will be the selection show. A couple of places have them as a 10. A couple of different projections have them as a 10. But as we heard Coody say many times, that 7, 8, 9, 10, pretty interchangeable. So we will find out for sure where they are headed come Sunday. All right, that's going to do it for hour number 1. Hour number 2 of Sports Nightly coming up after this.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
The signs are everywhere. It's time
for Truck Month at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get $3,000 cash on Super Duty and save on Ford F-150. Both part of F-Series, America's best-selling truck lineup for 48 years. Hurry in, folks. These trucks are running. Drive a new Ford Super Duty with $3,000 cash or 1.9% financing. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
Want to boost Nebraska's economy and help the planet? It's as easy as filling up your tank. Switch to soy-based biodiesel to cut greenhouse gases by up to 74% and support biodiesel growth.
I'm Greg Anderson, a farmer near Newman Grove, Nebraska, and biodiesel has transformed our farm. It cuts emissions, raises the cetane number, and improves fuel lubricity.
So ask for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, economy, and Nebraska soybean farmers. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
Good evening. I'm Russ Brown, and tonight's ticker is brought to you by the Department of Health and Human Services. Husker baseball will be in action for a pair of midweek games against Wichita State. Carson Jossa will get the start on Tuesday night for the Big Red. The 6'7 freshman is 0-1 with an ERA of 9 on the young season. Sophomore TJ Coates gets the ball on Wednesday night. He's 0-0 with an ERA of 7.71. Pre-game coverage starts at 5:30 on both nights right here on the Husker Radio Network. Nebraska Beach Volleyball swept Southwest Baptist today. The Huskers posted their 7th straight sweep. Today's win marks the 5th match in a row that no Husker pair has dropped a set. Beach volleyball back in action on Wednesday against San Francisco. That gets underway at 1 o'clock. There's been some quarterback movement in the NFL today. The Seahawks have signed Sam Darnold to a 3-year, $100.5 million contract. The Jets have reached a deal with Justin Fields for 2 years and $40 million. And the Eagles have traded Kenny Pickett to the Browns for Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 5th-round pick. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Up next, it's Hour 2 of Sports Nightly right here on the Husker Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Rice, inside, Buchtengel, extra pass, Wooster, 3, no good. Rebound, Gary, put back up and in. Gary high in the air for the offensive carom. We've got a 2-point game.
High drama in Indianapolis. Hank bounces
There it is.
Layup for Jessica Petrie. Off the assist from Hank. Timeout, Illinois. The Big Red leads by 3. You can't draw up a better inbounds play than Kellen Hank to Jessica Petrie.
Brandenburg set at the belt. The first pitch. Carey swings and rocks one into left center field. Guerrero back to the track, to the wall. It is gone. A 3-run homer for Dylan Carey. And Nebraska's lead swells to 4-0.
McCanty's 1-0, and Squire swings and drives this one. Deep right center. It's gone, and we're tied! Abby Squires serves it over the fence in right center field to tie the game at 4.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Nick Hanley, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Sports Nightly. And hey, it is still light outside, and I am loving it. Just to kind of put a bow on women's basketball, ran out of time there in hour number 1. But Nick, I wanted to get your thoughts on their run and what could lie ahead for women's basketball. I did on the seedings. I said that a couple of the different projections. So Charlie Cream for ESPN has them as a 10 seed. Playing Oklahoma State in South Bend, so Notre Dame would be the 2 seed there. Mm-hmm. And Autumn Johnson with the NCAA and Big Ten, she also has the Huskers as a 10 seed playing Florida State at TCU. So TCU would be the 2 seed there. But Coatney and Greesh have talked a lot about this over the years, that a lot could change there with the 7, 8, 9, 10, pretty equal and interchangeable. So depending on travel and all of that, and conferences, trying to avoid conferences there in those first couple of rounds, conference matchups, that certainly is not a set in stone kind of deal. But I think we've seen from this women's basketball team, first of all, just, when you lose Natalie Potts and then Allison Weiner, I'm not sure many people thought that they'd be able to be here, but they're going to hear their name called on Sunday. And they have shown that if they're hitting threes, they can compete with anybody in the country. They can compete with the best teams in the country if that 3 ball is going in.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're going to get those looks, as we've seen the way the teams want to defend Alexis Markowski as well. So it's something that I know you and I discussed, I think, going all the way back to January, when they were hit with so many different injuries, then the short-term injury, as we've talked about a lot, with what they've had to kind of shuffle with the lineup. And you just got the feeling that once this team found its footing, found confident in its not only the starters that was put out there, but the bench and how deep that this team could go, and what Amy Williams just pushing, I think, a lot of the right buttons. And I thought even that game against Illinois, where they're they're behind and they come from behind and then they take the lead. It was just a good game that we saw Thursday night. They really gave UCLA, I think, a real solid showing. And that's one of the better teams in the country. You could only hope right now that this team is taking that type of confidence and a little bit of that consistency in the NCAA tournament with them. I'm with you. Everything I've heard, I haven't heard anything higher than a 10 seed right now. But I think, as we've always seen at this level, it's going to be the matchups. You and I were talking about this before we came on the air, as far as the type of matchup that Nebraska had with Iowa in men's basketball, where if you're struggling defensively, are you able to close it out, contest shots, and is that team missing shots? I think when we watch, whether it's conference tournament play, that is, where maybe somebody gets upset, okay, well then, it sounds like, okay, a higher seed is out. Does that necessarily mean, though, it's going to be a good matchup for you? So that's what I'm really curious to see, is not necessarily where Nebraska winds up from a regional standpoint, whether they're in Indiana and South Bend or whether they're in the state of Texas and playing TCU or in the TCU region there, but what types of teams are they matching up with? And you're right, it comes down to being able to knock down those shots, but how are they going to defend Alexis Markowski, and how does this team want to run that offense through her, which they've done so well? I'm real fascinated to see, especially with what they drew, which I think was a fantastic run that they had in Indianapolis at the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, so I think, a lot of times teams don't want this week-long break or this long stretch going into the NCAA tournament, but for this team, it is much needed because they've had to play a lot of minutes. They've had some injuries, so I think this is coming at a good time. This is good for this team to be able to have some rehab, get recuperated, and get healthy so that they can potentially put a run together come the NCAA tournament. Okay, so another thing I wanted to hit on, but man, Mark Manning's crew and Nebraska wrestling put on a show in the Big Ten tournament. They ended up finishing runner-up, but had a couple of different champions in Ridge Lovett, Brock Hardy. We're hoping to get one of those guys on here this week, but Mark Manning's been excited about this team all season long, and if they can do a little bit what they did this week in the Big Tens, which sometimes is harder than going to the NCAAs, we're going to see guys competing for national titles here in a couple weeks.
Absolutely, and the thing that I thought was great to see how this all played out is look at who they finished in front of. And I know there's always a little bit of that rivalry with Iowa, but with what the type of program that Minnesota has as well. I mean, the company that they put themselves, look, Penn State, I think everybody knows in college wrestling, Penn State is just in another dimension. But to see Nebraska have the type of season, and you talked about Mark Manning, who really liked them, the veterans that you have when you look at Lovett, when you look at Hardy, and you see, okay, that they're going to anchor it, but, also being able to look at guys like Caleb Smith, guys like Jacob Van Dee, Antrell Taylor, all these guys that have now qualified for the Nationals that give Nebraska that representation on that level. So I think maybe he does get enough credit for it. I don't know if he does. I know we talk so much Matt Rule. We talk so much Fred Hoiberg. We talk about all these coaches, Amy Williams and John Cook. But Mark Manning is one of those guys. He's been one of the mainstays here. We know him to be a great coach. They're a great developer. But also when you think of some of the stewards of this athletic department, Mark Manning, I think, is one of the best. And the energy that he brings, that just overall infectious energy that he brings, that you see from successful wrestling programs and the leadership there too. This was just an awesome moment. I mean, it hasn't happened in 10 years at least, that you've been able to have two guys qualify or two guys actually win, and then be able to have the amount of guys that they're going to have qualifying for the Nationals. So from what this program accomplished and looking at them finishing it in front of another great wrestling program just a few hours out in Iowa City, this was one of the more exciting developments, I think, in the athletic department this past week.
Absolutely. And, you talk about Mark Manning and being a mainstay, too. Every coach that comes in here, you could just tell how much he's respected and liked. I mean, he goes out to football practices with Coach Rule, and Coach Rule goes and supports him at wrestling. And, they share the same floor over there inside the Devaney Center with Coach Williams and Coach Hoiberg. I mean, he is so well liked and appreciated and respected in this department, and he's just such a nice guy. You root for guys like that, and this is a team that has a lot of guys that are going to go and compete for national titles and All-American titles, and this is a team as a whole that could finish on the podium. They've been right there, around the top 5 the last couple of seasons, but I think this is a team that could even finish higher than that. But we will know the brackets and the seeding and all of that coming up Wednesday, 7 o'clock. That's when the reveal is for that. And then they will head to Philadelphia, right? Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yep, the Wells Fargo Center, yep.
Yeah, it starts March 20th there, March Madness there for Husker Wrestling. So we'll, and again, we'll have all the coverage for that on the social media and all that. So we'll dive all in on that coming up here over the next couple weeks. And again, hoping to get Brock Hardy on this week. I put a request in, so hopefully we'll hear from him and going into the NCAA tournament. And also should note, too, that despite maybe losing a couple of guys like a Ridge Lovett, I know that Coach Manning is really, really excited about the guys that he already knows are going to replace some of those guys that are leaving the program. So I think this is they've been here, they've been around, they've been competitive, but they're here to stay. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. All right, we got to get to a break here on Sports Nightly because we got lots to get to. Coming up, Nick's going to have a sit down with Dr. President Jeffrey Gold. Coming up, we have another check-in with the president. And up next, though, I got a chance to chat one-on-one with the new special teams coordinator, Mike Eckler. Keep it here on Sports Nightly. And Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
The signs are everywhere. It's time for Truck Month at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get up to $7,000 cash on F-150 and save on Ford Super Duty. Both part of F-Series, America's best-selling truck lineup for 48 years. Hurry in, folks. These trucks are running. Drive a new Ford F-150 with up to $7,000 cash or 1.9 financing plus $4,250 cash. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hi, I heard Cash Blast is back.
Yes, sir. Until April 1st, buy a 2x2 ticket and enter the voucher number online for a chance to win one of 7 weekly drawings for $5,000 or $500. And if your voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket, your prize is doubled.
You guys are great.
Thanks, but we think our players are greater.
No, you're greater.
No, you're greater.
Well, if you insist.
2x2 top prize odds 1 in 105,000.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
For farmers, sustainability is a way of life. 97% of farms are family-owned, and 95% are participating in conservation programs and using sustainable practices.
I'm Ann Meese, a farmer near Elgin, Nebraska. I grew up on this land, and we're dedicated to being good stewards and leaving it better for the next generation.
Since 1980, U.S. soybean farmers have boosted production by 130%, all while lowering emissions and improving land and water use. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
The signs are everywhere. It's time for Truck Month at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get $3,000 cash on Super Duty and save on Ford F-150. Both part of F-Series, America's best-selling truck lineup for 48 years. Hurry in, folks. These trucks are running. Drive a new Ford Super Duty with $3,000 cash or 1.9% financing. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
Nebraska soybeans power everyday products, from Goodyear tires and Skechers shoes to soy-based turf and fire suppressants. These innovations replace petroleum and utilize other components of the soybean, leading to more sustainable products worldwide.
I'm Doug Sadoff, a farmer near Trumbull, Nebraska. Thanks to cutting-edge research, soybeans are now in everything from tires to turf. It's amazing to see how these advancements are unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. I'm Jessica Coody, and delighted to be joined by the new special teams coordinator for Husker football, new to the staff this year, but certainly not new to Nebraska, Mike Eckler. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Truly appreciate you having me.
And welcome back to Lincoln.
Thanks. It's awesome to be back, and man, it's changed a bunch.
I was going to say, is it the exact same as when you left it? You remember where everything is? Or it's pretty different, huh?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Going through that new facility, I'd actually looked at it online and took the video tour. And I tell people all the time, it's that you can't describe it. You just got to see it.
Yeah.
It's so over the top. And it's just amazing. And just like everything Nebraska's ever done has just been so first class. And that new facility is just incredible and so cool for our players.
Yeah, that's what I always say. The videos just don't do it justice. You just can't get a sense for just how massive it is.
Agree.
Well, I guess, obviously from here, have ties here, but when you talk about the opportunity to come back here, why was it the right move for you?
Man, I really have so much respect for Coach Rule and what he's done in his career, and it just was a perfect fit. You know, with the opportunity to come back here and just do my part to work to get this program back to where it's always been. And, it was in meeting and visit with Coach Rule, it was his vision that it really meshed with really kind of my skill set, I felt like. And that's kind of in a nutshell. It's just a perfect match.
You had said that he's the best leader that you've ever been around in terms of a head coach. Why is that? What are some of the things that you've seen in him already that make you believe that?
Boy, he's just got a tremendous way about him. He cares about these players, like deeply, but he cares enough to tell them the truth. And he's very, very direct in a very caring way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, we've been told, obviously, and for people that know you, a very intense, passionate guy. Where does that come from? Why are you wired that way?
Probably comes from my wife, Barbie. But no, it's my DNA. It's just the way I was. It's like, we've got 4 kids, and when your kids are born, they are who they are, and their personalities. I mean, they're, you can mold, morals and so forth, but the good Lord made them how they made them, and he made me like he made me. So
in terms of special teams, though, at what point throughout your playing career, coaching career, did you realize that it was such an important part and a big passion of yours?
Well, as a player, I mean, I was average as grits. I played at Kansas State for some of the best coaches of all time. Bill Snyder, Bob Stoops, Mike Stoops, Jim Leavitt, Coach Mangino. We had some incredible coaches, and so that was my role, and I enjoyed it. I embraced it, and then the better I played on special teams, the more I played on defense, and so that was just kind of how it evolved. And then getting into coaching, it's always been something I've always had a hand in it. And then a handful of years ago, I just decided, look, I enjoy it so much, and you get an opportunity to coach every single player on the team and get it. So that's kind of one of the main reasons that I went that way.
You didn't initially get into coaching once you were done playing football. So what made you come back to coaching? What drew you back into the game?
Yeah, it's interesting. I went to work for my dad, and it went really well. So I had a lot of free time. So I lived only a few blocks from Scott Catholic in Omaha. And so I went over there and volunteered, and I got hooked. I mean, just absolutely hooked. And then my wife and I, we built our dream home. I wanted to raise our kid. We wanted to raise our kids in a smaller community. So we actually went back to Manhattan, Kansas, built our dream home there. And about a week after we moved in, I remember I'm looking out and laying out on a hammock out on the deck, and I looked up in the sky and I'm like, man, is this it? And I'm like, all right. I said, all right, if this is what you want me to do, I'm going to coach. And it was just like one of those, one of those moments in life where you're at a crossroads. And I loved what I was doing, but I also wanted to do something I was very passionate about.
Wow, incredible. Well, when you start talking about getting guys to buy into special teams, what are the keys to that? What are the important factors of playing great special teams across the board?
In coaching, this is my personal opinion. There's 3 things. You come into a new locker room, a new program, and the first thing is you got to earn your players' respect. And what I mean by that is you've got to prove to them that you can coach and teach them and develop them to maximize their God-given ability. And that takes time, right? So you got to earn their respect. So second thing you got to do is you got to earn their trust. So when you're in the 4th quarter and you know what hits the fan, are you going to point a finger or point a thumb? Are you in it together? Or are you really in it together? So again, those 2 things take time, right? And then once you have those 2 established and they actually figure out you care about them, you love them, now you got something. So it's a process. And so the big thing is you've got to, we're teachers. You've got to show them that everything you're teaching them, they've got to understand the why. You got to have a logical teaching progression, and they got to be able to apply it. And they've got to not only be able to apply it, but they have to understand how it makes them a better football player, and how all these skills that we're teaching them on special teams is base fundamentals of football. It's not rocket science. And it's going to transfer over and make them a better receiver, better tight end, a better defensive back, a better linebacker. And that's the key.
So when you go into a spring football, you guys will be hitting the field here soon. What are the goals for you and the special teams that you want to accomplish over spring football?
Learn every single one of our players' skill sets. And got a spreadsheet. It's got 6 columns in it. And it's the big 4 special teams, punt, return, kickoff, return. And then it's got field goal, block. And you have, Johnny right there. Boom. You might fill out 4 boxes that he fits. And so it's like, again, identifying what they can do. Not what they can't do, what they can do.
You have been able to see, I guess, a little bit, and you like some of the pieces that you're going to maybe be able to work with.
Yeah, we just have a ton of speed here. I mean, a ton of speed, and the kids are strong. And again, I mean, it's nothing I've done. I walked into a situation where I really love Coach Rule's recruiting philosophy. And I think he's a tremendous evaluator. And you can talk about recruiting all you want, but it really boils down, in my opinion, to evaluating. You can spend all this time recruiting, you can be recruiting the wrong guys, that can't play dead in the Western. You got to be recruiting the right ones. So first, it's the evaluation process, and that's what I think he does an amazing job.
You had talked about this, but how is it to just being special teams, focusing on special teams and having all your time dedicated to that and not coaching a position like the linebackers like you've done in the past?
I'm not going to lie. It's really unique, and I'm still getting a feel for it because I'm so used to being in meeting after meeting after meeting and wearing a couple different hats. So it's definitely a change, and I like to be busy, and but my whole focus right now is just learning everything about these players, teaching them every aspect of the special teams, evaluating them, and getting the special teams to the level it should be.
You're from the state. I know you have ties here. Parents still live here. What does it mean to come back and be able to help this program continue on hopefully the right trajectory and winning some football games?
I don't use that word hope. Wishing, trying, and hoping. Don't use the WTH on that. But we're going to. And it means everything. It means everything because I grew up going to games in the stadium. I grew up, I understand the culture in this state, and to be a part, just to do my job, to help Coach Rule and help the university, that means everything to me.
Just got a couple more for you. We were chatting before we started the interview. You've got some athletes in your family, girls that played sports. How special is it to be a part of this athletic department where you got a big emphasis on women's sports as a girl dad? Oh,
it's so cool because when they were little, we went to every one of the volleyball games. And, I look at it now, all 3 of our daughters play volleyball. We had 2 that just graduated from the University of Tennessee, 1 lettered in rowing, and 1 lettered 3 years and was a team captain on the volleyball team. And then our youngest, little Bella, she's a junior in high school, and she was voted the player of the year in Tennessee in volleyball, and she's got a full ride. She's going to Georgia Southern. So that foundation for those guys to see that at a very young age has always been very important, and couldn't have asked for anything better. But the hardest part for me, it was to understand that, like little Bella, who's a junior in high school, she'll graduate at semester next year, but, my wife Barbie and Bella are going to stay back so she can graduate, and missing that part of it, it breaks my heart. But the good Lord wanted me here, I felt like, and so we're going to make the best of it, and she knows I love her. And
how has it been coaching or being a dad of you've been a coach at this level, but being a dad watching your kids play at this level?
It's been fun because I'm a fan. If they happen to lose, you know what? We're going to still eat. And so I just enjoy it. I don't know anything about volleyball. I don't want to. I'm just supporting them and enjoying it. And the only thing we really talk about is competing. And we talk about leadership. And we talk about being a great teammate. And those are the things that are important for me. When Abby went to Tennessee, I told Eve, who's the head volleyball coach, I said, I don't care if she ever plays. I truly don't. But if she's not a great teammate, if she doesn't work her tail off, clean her locker out. And I meant it. And that's, since they were little, if they'd skin their knees, I'd make them say it. And I'd say, all right, say it. Ecklers are tough. And so that part of it, to me, is more important because that's what's going to drive them the rest of their lives, because life's not easy. And they're going to have things that come up, and they're tough.
Wow, great perspective. Last thing I got for you, you had posted, obviously we sadly lost our fearless leader, the voice of the Huskers, Greg Sharp, who you go way back with, have a great relationship. What was special for you and your relationship and Greg Sharp?
Just such an amazing person. I mean, just every time. You talk about a guy who came in a room and just lit it up. Just the friendship. He was obviously one of the best in the business at what he did, but just the true friendship, just going back from our days at Kansas State and then coming here at Nebraska, and I'll miss him.
Thank you for saying that, for answering that. Appreciate it. And thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to many more conversations hopefully coming up here over the next season. So thank you so much, and welcome back to Lincoln.
Appreciate you having me.
Appreciate Special Teams Coordinator Mike Eckler spending some time with us here on Sports Nightly. We got to work in a break, but we've got more of the show coming up, including an interview with Nick Hanley with the president, Dr. President Gold, coming up right after this. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Husker fans, let's call a timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
The signs are everywhere. It's time for Truck Month at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get up to $7,000 cash on F-150 and save on Ford Super Duty. Both part of F-Series, America's best-selling truck lineup for 48 years. Hurry in, folks. These trucks are running. Drive a new Ford F-150 with up to $7,000 cash or 1.9 financing plus $4,250 cash. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Not All Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Not All Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Not All Services. These are the Not All Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
Not All Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Not All Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Not All Services. These are the Not All Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly. As always a good time to catch up on a little bit of university athletics, but also more importantly, university system as it's impacting not only the state of Nebraska, but all throughout our community, as we're happy to be joined by the 9th University System President, Dr. Jeffrey Gold. And Dr. Gold, first of all, thanks for being with us today.
Nick, it's always a great pleasure to join you. I love this audience, and I look forward to talking about sports and so much more.
Well, speaking of sports, a little bit of a shakeup. A legend retires in John Cook, but which seems to be a very good transition with Danny Busboom Kelly. You've had a chance to be around her a little bit as she's selected as the new coach for the volleyball program. What's your initial thoughts of just her presence in Lincoln and how excited Husker Nation is to have her now leading the way?
Well, all of the above, but first let me say that the opportunities I've had to work with John Cook and to learn from his leadership and how much he is respected not only by the team but by his fellow coaches and loved by the community is truly remarkable. And let's just say we'll have a number of different opportunities to honor him and thank him for his 25 years of amazing leadership here. But yeah, no, I've had the opportunity to meet Danny now on several occasions, and every time I meet her, I am just totally reassured that she's the right person at the right time for our institution. Obviously, a Nebraskan, played for us, championship level, coached for us, and, is now back. One of the things that's so impressive to me is that she is spending time individually with the players, getting to know them well, and building the relationships that are really going to be critical. You know, she said to me at a recent event that we ended up sitting next to each other that she was really impressed during practices how well the players communicated with each other. And obviously, that's critically important in volleyball. It's certainly critically important in heart surgery, I can tell you that, but I'm sure it's important in all of our team sports.
Well, and moving from success on the court, but let's go to success in the lab. I know UNMC, other campuses, they do work in biomedical research, saves lives and makes Nebraskans healthier. So let's talk a little bit about some of those areas today, if we could.
Well, there's no question that great universities such as ours are, of course, well known for their educational programs and workforce development. But at the end of the day, a lot of the rankings, ratings, the things that bring and retain very qualified faculty here, and frankly, economic development as well, are related to the research profile, this discovery and the creative activities of our great university system. So whether that's in new diagnostic tools for cancer or therapies, whether that's in ways that we can make our highways and bridges and tunnels safer, whether it has to do with increasing row crop production or in cow-calf facilities or feedlots, those are all areas and hundreds more where the University of Nebraska is absolutely making a difference. You know, I'll tell you, I recently had an opportunity to communicate with a family from northern Minnesota who was here for a routine follow-up visit. This was a farmer rancher who 20 years ago, when he was told by many doctors in his local community that his cancer, he had an unusual type of lymphoma, could not be treated successfully, and that he really just needed to get his affairs in order. And 20 years ago to the day, he's back here for a routine follow-up visit. Wow. And those are the kinds of breakthroughs, you know, in those days, bone marrow transplantation and stem cell transplantation was a dream and not a reality. And of course, across the United States and around the world now, that technology that was largely developed here and tested and created survival for him is the standard of care. And those types of stories are just, you know, they're not, you know, singular. They're not one-offs. They occur on a daily basis.
Right now, the governor's budget proposal, including sweeping money from the healthcare fund that funds biomedical research at the university, this is on top of a potential federal indirect cost cap from national institutes of health that could obviously lower dollars intended to support research facilities and infrastructure. What impact, as you know, might this have on University of Nebraska research if implemented?
Yeah, well, certainly this does feel like the 1-2 punch in that it has a state component and it also has a federal component. And, you know, I would just say that anything that reduces our ability to have productive research programs funded either through federal dollars or through state dollars or through private philanthropy or through public-private partnerships with large corporations decreases the chances, in this particular case, in biomedical research, of future diagnostic tools, future treatments, prevention strategies, public health strategies that make our communities safer. And of course, these dollars bring countless high-paying jobs to the community. These dollars result in intellectual property transfer and commercialization, which means license agreements, patents, copyrights, and those sort of things that produces economic prosperity for the state. You know, I was just had the privilege of not too long ago being at a Team Jack event, the annual gala, and I was talking with some of our research scientists here at UNMC who benefit from the investments, and they've had a 9-to-1 return just in federal funding. So for every dollar that they've been awarded through the state and through other sources, but they were particularly talking about state funding. As you may know, pediatric cancer has been repetitively funded by the state, largely, by the way, through the voices of the Hoffman family, as tragic as that all is, and believe me, it's very tragic and very heartfelt. But they've had a considerable return in federal funding alone, which then results, again, in new diagnostics, new therapeutics. A brand new drug was just approved for the use in treatment in pediatric brain cancer, which largely, frankly, were it not for the Team Jack Foundation, probably would not have occurred. So, you know, this is real. You know, when some family sits in their doctor's office and they hear the words, "Your child has cancer," believe me, that is a life-changing moment. We know all too well through the struggles and challenges that Greg Sharp and his family recently went through that we still have a lot of work to do for early diagnosis and treatment of these diseases. So anything that removes funding on the federal, the state, or the local levels will have a significant impact. Now, having said that, we're going to roll up our sleeves and do our best to energize around the funding that we do have and to accelerate these types of programs. But there needs to be a partnership, and that partnership is sometimes just expressed through these funding sources. Well,
you bring up research as well, and we know how that affects folks across Nebraska and Universities of Nebraska economic impact. You released a report in January on just how NU makes a difference across the state to business and the economy at large. Can you give us a couple of highlights from the report that was found?
Sure. Well, first of all, this is a report that we do about every 3 or 4 years, and it's done by the same firm. It's done by a firm out of Kansas City known as Tripp Umbach, and Paul Umbach is their principal of the firm, and he personally oversees all of these. This firm has done thousands of these studies over large universities, academic medical centers, small colleges, businesses across the nation, and so very highly respected and very consistent methodology. So you asked for some highlights. Let's give you a couple. One is for every dollar invested by the state, $10 are added to the gross domestic product of the state of Nebraska. If you just look at the university system writ large, all of our campuses, including the extension programs, et cetera, they produced $6.4 billion of economic impact, up $600 million over the last 3 years. If you look at our academic medical center and our partnership with Nebraska Medicine, that brings the total up to approximately $12 billion, or about 8.5% of the entire gross domestic product of the state, over 56,000 direct and induced employees. You know, you think about it, there are not many corporations, private or public, that can boast on a $1.6 billion increase in economic impact for the state of Nebraska over 3 years, employ over 50,000 people, and have a 10-to-1 return on investment. So aside from the fact we produce the future workforce, and as we just talked about, new diagnostic tools, research, whether it's in the cornfields or in the operating rooms, but also are a major employer and have a huge economic impact. And, you know, unlike small and large corporations, we're based here in Nebraska, and we're not going anywhere. We're not going to show up on the tax rolls of Illinois or Texas or California or anywhere else. I mean, we are of, by, and for indefinitely the people of Nebraska.
Before we let you go, President Gold, you gotta get back to sports a little bit. I mean, you're a very busy man, but you still get time to get out, see the women's basketball team play, the men's basketball team play. I saw you at a hockey game not that long ago, too.
Absolutely.
So you're everywhere. So your thoughts, especially with men's and women's basketball going on right now?
Yeah, all exciting. You know, I enjoy it. I've actually attended the last women's home game and got to participate in senior night, which is always very, you know, heartfelt. I actually stood there with the players as they walked onto the hardwood and with arm in arm with their family and the beautiful rose bouquets, and they were teary-eyed. You know, the whole audience was, you know, teary-eyed. It just speaks to the incredible fan base. But I'll tell you, our coaches, Fred and Amy, are just amazing human beings. They're great coaches. They're trying to bring out the best as we go through this last and most competitive part of the season. As always, I am very optimistic, look forward to the brackets, and all I can tell you to our fan base is be seeing you there.
Excellent. President Gold, we really appreciate your time. Continue great work, and all the best to you.
Thank you. It's always an honor, Nick.
All right, we got more Sports Nightly after this.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
In the game of life, we all step up to the plate. Sometimes it feels like we're facing a curveball with no clear path. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the ninth inning. Reach out, speak up, and let's strike out life's challenges together. Because we're more than players, we're a resilient community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every swing, every slide. Play ball. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Final segment here of Sports Nightly on this Monday evening. Great stuff there with Nick and Dr. Gold. It's just fascinating. He's always great to, when we do those interviews, to chat with before and after. Just a brilliant human being. So I always enjoy hearing from Dr. Gold, and we'll have multiple check-ins with him coming up here over the next couple of months as we are scheduled to hear from him periodically throughout this spring semester. What a fast and fun 2 hours. I feel like we have not been on the air much at all, just with all the broadcasts that we've had going on. We will not have shows tomorrow or Wednesday with baseball taking on Wichita State. 6 o'clock first pitch for both of those. Pre-game shows starting at 5:30. Ben and Nick will have you covered on those. We will have a full 2 hours coming up on Thursday night, and then we will have about an hour and a half or so on Friday night leading into first pitch for baseball coming up on Friday night. So we'll hopefully have some check-ins with Nate on softball on Friday. But that's the schedule for this week. So I won't be able to talk to you till Thursday night. We will have baseball for you here over the next couple of days. But thank you for tuning in tonight. Have a great night and a happy spring, as it is spring forward time. Have a great night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Huskers fans, let's call a timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
The signs are everywhere. It's time for Truck Month at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get up to $7,000 cash on F-150 and save on Ford Super Duty. Both part of F-Series, America's best-selling truck lineup for 48 years. Hurry in, folks. These trucks are running. Drive a new Ford F-150 with up to $7,000 cash or 1.9 financing plus $4,250 cash. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
Want to boost Nebraska's economy and help the planet? It's as easy as filling up your tank. Switch to soy-based biodiesel to cut greenhouse gases by up to 74% and support biodiesel growth.
I'm Greg Anderson, a farmer near Newman Grove, Nebraska, and biodiesel has transformed our farm. It cuts emissions, raises the cetane number, and improves fuel lubricity.
So ask for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits